Okay, well, this is something that you're going to have to sort of pay a little bit of attention to if you care about it. It's called the in and out scheme. That's what it's called. It's the movement of campaign money by political parties from a national campaign to the local guys, from the local guys back to the national guys. It's an internal mechanism that those who watch politics say all parties do. In fact, it looks like it was started, this whole idea started by the Bloc Québécois in 2000. Yeah, started by the Bloc. Nobody says anything if the Bloc does it. Nobody says anything if the Liberals do it. But, oh, my God, if the Conservatives do it, now it's a big, quote, scandal. As I said to Tim Powers a moment ago, everybody's throwing things at the Conservative wall and seeing what will stick. Remember back in, let me see, when was it? Was it when the Mounties first knocked on the door of the Conservative Party of Canada, April 15th of 2008? They went and knocked on the door looking for some documents in this case. All the news cameras were there. Liberals were there. It was an orchestrated, I'm not going to blame the Mounties here, it was an orchestrated media event. You know? When they're knocking on Liberal doors or Bloc Québécois doors, maybe they don't even knock on those doors. Funny. So here we are with this, trying to figure out what this means, the importance of it. Federal government, the Prime Minister has said, listen, everybody does it. We're going to defend ourselves. We did nothing wrong. With me, Peter Coleman, President and CEO, National Citizens Coalition. Hi, Peter.
Morning, Dave.
Some are suggesting that Elections Canada does have a bias here, a motive, that maybe, and I don't know if this is even provable, if some people in Elections Canada are retaliating against Harper for his some of the things he did back when he was with the National Citizens Coalition. Is it possible, Peter, that there's a vendetta going here?
Well, I think in your preamble, I think you're right. I mean, it's really curious that CBC and the cameras show up for Elections Canada. If they were a professional organization, that would never happen when they raid the Conservatives' office. I mean, as you know, we were fighting the third-party spending back in 2000 when the RCMP jumped on our doors and charged us with election advertising when it wasn't election advertising, and Harper was president then. So it's been going on for a long time, and I have no doubt Elections Canada has a built-in bias. They've never liked third-party advertising. They don't like people that don't agree with them. And as you said, all parties do it. It's an accounting movement of money between national levels and riding levels, and they've all done it. And I think it's just the scandal du jour, if you will, in Ottawa, trying to make something stick on the Conservatives.
And going back to third-party advertising, by the way, with the NCC, the champions of the ability for you and me to express ourselves during election campaigns, these guys have never lost. Peter, you've been charged, you've gone to court how many times? I think 6 or 7 times. You've never lost.
No, exactly. This whole thing is whether people have the right to spend money in election campaign. In Elections Canada, we fought them for years, Jean-Pierre Kingsley and the henchmen around there, and they're consistent as far as not wanting people to have their voice. And all parties have done this. This is not where money's been legally gained like an ad scam situation. This is a Conservative Party fundraised money. It's going between the national and the riding level. They changed the rules now, which the Conservatives are complying with, and I just don't believe there's anything to this issue. And the average Canadian, to be honest with you, Dave, I think their eyes kind of glaze over when these conversations go on.
I completely agree with you, Peter. I do agree. And if you want to do one of those street interviews with people at random and ask them what the in-and-out scheme was, I'm sure they'd be talking about, I don't know, Charlie Sheen or something. It would not be. There is no. It's not a scandal. It is a media-driven, and I keep seeing these, Peter. It's very much like the long-form, census thing. It was totally media-driven. It seems this is similar in a way. Now, haven't the courts, though? I mean, haven't the courts endorsed this along the way?
Yeah, I mean, the Conservatives have won this, and now they've lost an appeal, so it's going to go further along. So I just don't really think there's much legs to this conversation. It almost seems like the so-called talking foreheads in the national media in Ottawa live in rarefied air, and they think this thing really matters to the average guy, and it doesn't. And the Liberals and everybody, like the sky is falling. I mean, Conservatives committed fraud, and that's just utter nonsense in this conversation.
Well, I mean, even if it may not capture the imagination of the average voter, if there is something here, it should be revealed, it should be dealt with. But what you're seeing and your experience and all the other, as you say, the context of this, there isn't anything here.
No, and so your viewers know, listeners know, Dave, this is money that the Conservative Party raised for election campaign. It's not money that came from some other source. It's their own party money that was used in the campaign, and whether money moved from the national level to the riding level, because you can spend about $18 million at the national level, you can spend up to like $60,000, $70,000 on a riding level, depending on what the size of your riding is. So money in the past used to flow around quite freely from riding to national level and that, and all the parties did it if they could. And the Conservatives maybe are getting hit now because everybody perceives them having an unfair advantage because they're raising so much money, but they're doing a better job of raising money, and that's the way it should be anyway.
Stand by, Peter. Peter Coleman with me, President and CEO, National Citizens Coalition. You may want to weigh in on this one. You've heard enough about this, I think. You're getting a spin from the big media. Some of the commentators say, well, no, the Conservatives are spinning this. Well, as has been documented, all parties do this accounting math, and only the Conservatives are facing charges. Back after this.
Plantar fasciitis, stabbing pain in the heel of your foot, usually worse with your first steps in the morning or after periods of rest.
Procrastination, to put off until tomorrow or next month what you could do today. Why procrastinate any longer? Get rid of that plantar fasciitis. Call Laser Health Solutions today so your foot isn't still hurting next month. Call 235-2737 to find the nearest clinic. That's 235-2737. Or visit laserhealth.ca.
Hi, I'm Shirley from Creative Interiors. We're thrilled to be a Hunter Douglas gallery. For us, it's proof that people appreciate the way we do business. For you, it means that we have even more Hunter Douglas window fashions to choose from. Until March 31st, tell us you heard this ad and get free installation on Hunter Douglas products. See CreativeInteriorsCalgary.com or talk with us today about how we can create an affordable, stylish home you'll love. Creative Interiors in Avenida Place.
Some people claim to have the best deal.
I booked a super cheap all-inclusive. Check out the brochure.
Are those people running from a giant lizard?
That's not a fitness class?
Others guarantee the best deal, like the Marquee of Skyview Ranch by Lionsworth Homes. Starting at $269, including lot and GST. Buy your unit at the grand opening March 5th or 6th, and Lionsworth will pay your legal fees, your first year's condo fees, and property tax. The Marquee of Skyview Ranch, the guaranteed best deal. Visit LionsworthWithAnEHomes.com.
Hi. My car? It's different. It runs on gas and milk and my new digital camera. See, everywhere I use my RBC Royal Bank Esso Visa card, I earn Esso Extra points that I can redeem for free gas rewards. I can also earn Esso Extra points even faster when I use my card at Esso stations. Plus, I got 4,500 Esso Extra points as a welcome bonus with my first purchase. Enough for $25 in free gas rewards. Some conditions and restrictions apply. Apply for your no annual fee Esso Visa card today. Call 1-800-ROYAL-12 or visit rbc.com/Esso Visa.
Get a holiday home where the weather is sunny, the welcome is warm, and the U.S. real estate opportunity is hot. With communities in key second home markets across the U.S. and special offers for Canadians, Canadians are flocking to these amazing communities. Learn more at a free, no-obligation information session hosted by America's #1 golf resort builder, Trilogy by Shea Homes, in Edmonton on March 8th and in Calgary on March 9th. Spots are limited. Reserve yours at SheaCanada.com. That's SHEA Canada.com. Homes at most Trilogy communities for people 55 years of age or older with certain exceptions. Void where prohibited.
It's a machine that delivers unmatched performance, that's equipped with the latest technology, and that keeps your business running at full speed. The Epson Workforce 840 all-in-one printer prints two-sided documents 2 times faster than the leading competition and delivers the stunning print quality Epson is known for. Keep your business running at full speed with the Workforce 840 from Epson. Built to perform.
The Epson Workforce 840, available only at Staples. That was easy.
Say what you think at Store 7777 on Rogers Wireless or TELUS Mobility. Rutherford on QR77.
Well, we're talking to Peter Coleman, National Citizens Coalition President and CEO, about the so-called in-and-out scheme. Peter, listen, what was done here? I mean, I don't want to get too deep into the accounting of this, but generally, what's the allegation?
Well, the allegation, Dave, is that money was moved from the Conservative Party, or a federal party can spend about $18 million at the national level, and they can spend another $12 million or so on each riding level, based on what their population is and what they can do. So money was moved from the national level down to the local level, and when the national level got used up, some of the local level money was spent to do some of the national advertising. So what the allegations are is that money got moved from the Conservative Party's coffers from the so-called national level down to local level and back, and they're saying that's in violation of what the spending limits as far as the party. But the reality is the party should be able to spend whatever that total amount they're given to spend is, and this whole accounting between national and local level, and are you contributing from a local level to a national ad buy, it kind of muddies the waters a bit, Dave.
Yeah. And so this is, though, donor money. This is Conservative Party money. It's not the money of the government of Canada or the people of Canada. This is people who donated money to the party, and it was spent on the national campaign, the local campaign, back to the national campaign. It's all the campaign. It's all inside the party, right?
Yeah, and Davis, it's not uncommon for somebody to have like a fundraising dinner where money's raised for the local party and money could be getting transferred back to the federal party too for a fundraiser for any political party. So this thing is, it does happen where they do local events. Money goes back to the national party as well, whether it's in an election campaign or not. So it's not uncommon for money to be moving around. And I think what Elections Canada should do is, maybe they already have, but they're trying to clarify what the rules should be. But they were vague back then. The Conservatives have changed their methods now to comply with what's going on. I think that the opposition parties are crying wolf, and they were doing it too.
Okay. And this is part, though, as I said earlier with Tim Powers, this is part of this sort of silly season. The pre-election anticipation is there, and it's driving all kinds of things, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, Dave, you're 100% right. I think there's sort of there's a strong sense that we're going to the polls, which we don't need to be doing, but everybody's rattling their sabers, if you will, and it's, as you said, it's a silly season before the budget, and then we'll see if we're going to the election now, because the opposition parties can't beat on Harper on the economy and where it's going, because, we're performing well relative to the world. We need some improvement still, but they're trying to find something to stick to Harper. Nothing's working, so in come all these things, which is no surprise.
Okay, as far as the economy goes, Peter, I'm sure the NCC is looking at this, Prime Minister, looking at the stimulus spending, the intervention in the economy from pure conservative economic principles. Peter, you got to be wondering, was that the right thing to do? Despite that, we seem to be recovering. We are in deficit, and our debt is pretty hard at, again, almost back to $600 billion. But still, Peter, are you going to hold the Prime Minister to account for that?
Absolutely. I think that the stimulus spending was an unfortunate byproduct of a minority government where he was forced to do it to keep government working. And we as an organization have never been in favor of the level of stimulus spending they had, because these deficits got to get turned back to budget surpluses at some point, because these deficits are just future taxes coming forward for our younger generation. And we hope this budget will stop the stimulus spending and start reining in the size of government, because the Conservatives, to be fair, have not done a very good job of managing the spending. We're now at $250 billion to run the federal government. That's just far too much money.
It is too much money. It's growing too fast. It was growing before they got some efficiencies, and we heard from Stockwell Day, the Treasury Board president, yesterday. A couple of calls for you, Peter. What happened to Peter? Did I drop him? I did.
Hello?
Teresa, you're there. Hang on. We'll get Peter Coleman back. Well, go ahead, Teresa.
Well, this went to court, I think, a couple of years ago.
It did.
It was thrown out of the court because the court judge said they'd done nothing wrong. They're just complying with existing rules. And he did a detailed report where he said the Liberals, NDP, and Bloc all did this. He all cited incidents where this occurred.
Exactly.
And, this is the guy at Elections Canada, who's a big-time Liberal anyways, on a vendetta. They said they would appeal it at the time. And there was another incident where the Conservatives tried to refund money to Elections Canada. I think it was $40,000. And they refused to accept it, so the Conservatives went to court. The court ordered Elections Canada to accept the money, and they still refused. They still refuse to accept it.
Yeah. So you're saying this is a deeply felt bias.
And I don't trust Elections Canada to run a fair and a clean election. I really don't.
Teresa, thank you for that. Stand by. We're going to get Peter Coleman back on right after this.
Teams, players, goals, assists, points, penalty minutes, plus minus, you know them all. But are you fan enough for QR77 Saturday Night Pick'ems? Battle your friends, your enemies, and QR77 personalities. Pick the winners for each NHL Saturday night game this season. Get points for good picks, and fight your way to the top of the standings for prizes and more. Join now at QR77.com. QR77 Saturday Night Pick'ems from QR77. News, talk, sports.
What does it take to be a millionaire? Just a little luck and a ticket. The Legion $1 Million Lottery is back with 2 grand prizes of $1 million each, with more than 1,000 cash prizes totaling over $2.6 million. One of this year's lucky winners could be you. The Legion $1 Million Lottery is Alberta's biggest all-cash lottery. Tickets $25 each, 3 for $50 or 10 for $100. Call the Legion $1 Million Lottery, 403-531-6001, or visit millions.com.
License number 301726.
Investing in a new major appliance, furniture, or sleep set isn't something you take lightly. At Sears, neither do we. We have the widest selection of brand-name major appliances in Canada, and our sales associates will help you find what you're looking for. This weekend, save up to 20% on regular price Kenmore, KitchenAid, GE, and more. Plus, save up to 30% on regular price furniture and up to 50% on regular price sleep sets, only at Sears. Find a lower price on a major appliance or sleep set, and we'll match it. Some conditions apply.
Agree or disagree? Have your say at the end of the day. The Rob Breckenridge Show, weeknights 9 to 11 on QR77.
So, guys, if your once densely covered cranium is undergoing some serious natural deforestation, and you're waiting for someone to perfect the time machine so you can whip back a few years and reclaim those long-lost locks, here's some helpful advice. Get a plan B. Maybe something that will actually work, like, I don't know, Hair Club of Calgary? They'll restore your rooftop garden with proven methods, and you won't have to risk getting stuck in the 12th century. Or demolecularization. Visit hairclub.com/Calgary. Now's the time.
You can live in Alberta and have tiles that look like they're right out of Spain, Italy, or New York with Northland Construction Supplies. This is Dave Rutherford. No matter what look you're going for, ceramic tile, glass tile, natural stone, Northland stocks superior products at average prices. That means you don't get the ho-hum big box store look. You get truly unique imported tiles that you see in the designer magazines. Northland Construction Supplies, Calgary, Red Deer, Edmonton, Fort McMurray, and online at everythingceramic.ca.
If you're an Albertan, age 65 or over, the time is right for you to get a Seniors Plus plan from Alberta Blue Cross. Seniors Plus provides useful coverage for dental services, eyeglasses, health care, preferred hospital accommodation, and more. It's affordable, and there's no medical review. Thousands of Albertans know the benefits of Seniors Plus. You can too. Call Alberta Blue Cross today. 1-800-AB-CROSS. That's 1-800-AB-CROSS.
I'm Kelly Turner in the QR77 News Center. The federal government has won an age discrimination case after the Supreme Court of Canada ruled that they can gradually reduce death benefits based on the age of the deceased. 2 women had argued that it violates the Charter of Rights. That story and more coming up in QR77 News at 10.
Take one conservative, add Mike, mix well with current affairs, and listen to him simmer. You're listening to the King of Talk, Dave Rutherford on QR77. Call 974-TALK, 974-8255.
My guest is Peter Coleman, National Citizens Coalition. Peter, I'll try and keep my fat fingers to myself here so I don't hang up on you again.
No problem.
Joan, go ahead.
Good morning, Dave.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the program this morning. There are so many things that are happening worldwide, and so many things that are being taken care of like we've never seen before. And I don't know if they realize down there in Ottawa, all of these stupid little things come up that I think now they need to be labeled as the gossip parties. And you know, who wants a gossip party to run our country? Dave, there was something that came up when the Reform Party was coming into prominence in Canada,
right.
And it came up after the election, and I wish I had written it down in the area. But 2 days before the election, Harper, in an ethnic part of BC, was getting popular.
Yeah.
And 2 days before the election, one woman, she did complain. Now, this is where the people do not speak the language, but there is one symbol worldwide that everyone knows, and that's Hitler.
Yeah.
And 2 days before the election, they stood on the corner with green sheets with Harper dressed up as Hitler saluting. And it did swing the vote in that area because these are people that don't speak. So the dirty tricks.
Dirty politics, yeah, dirty tricks.
If we ever started to bring them out, and I personally, and I'm sure Canadians are really smart, and they're getting smarter with the news media outlets and your program, and we're not fooled, and they're wasting our money in the House of Commons, and that's all I want.
Thank you, Joan, very much. You know, Peter, again, back to sort of the timing of all of this, and look at the political cycles where we are, and it's pretty crazy. Peter, what do you think about the likelihood of an election based on this budget? Seeing the NDP might be losing their stomach for one. What do you think?
Yeah, I think with the polls, Dave, they may sort of try and get some concessions from the Conservatives that can give them enough, red meat for their party base to try and avoid it. The Liberals have said they're not going to support the budget.
No matter what.
Yeah, which is kind of remarkable. I'm not sure what the Liberal Party, quite frankly, stands for anymore. That's a different conversation. But I mean, I think it's 50-50. I think the Conservatives would like to go to the polls, but don't want to be seen as forcing an election. I think they're in good shape that way, and all the polls show them, anywhere from 5 to 13% ahead. And I just really believe when Harper goes to campaign on what's gone on in the country in the last few years, and as your caller Joan said earlier, we've done a good job of having some bigger picture issues, too, around the world as far as being supportive. And I think the average Canadian, we're doing Harper's done a decent job. Is he perfect? Of course he's not. But I think the more these other parties keep on trying to throw stuff against Harper that the average guy doesn't care about, the stronger Harper's going to be.
Peter, thanks very much for your time. Good to talk to you today.
Thanks very much, Dave.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Peter Coleman, President, CEO, National Citizens Coalition. As I said, not a 100% fan of this Prime Minister. I'm sure they'd like him to be more conservative than he is, but on all the balances we could use to apply to where we are economically, socially, around the world, our status, we're in pretty good shape. We're going to get back.